Should trans people tell the people they are trying to date that they're trans? Why or why not? Okay, I have lived this from a personal experience. Met a lady on online dating. We shared interests, both recently got divorced, so it was nice to find someone who understood. Dated for a few weeks, things went further. Never noticed anything out of the ordinary. 5 feet 2 inches skinny East Asian. She was guarded about her upbringing from a conservative country. Figured nothing of that at this stage. She didn't tell me until a few weeks after we had been seeing each other, maybe closer to 1 to 2 months. I was floored. I wasn't so much angry, nor did I particularly care. I just really felt bamboozled, like someone pulled a prank on me. We saw each other just a bit longer, but she moved out of state. We remained friends, and I wish her nothing but the best. I understood both sides of the coin. A. I understood her fear, and how she had many bad experiences in the past, so she was afraid to be vulnerable, especially after a divorce. B. I also didn't like being uninformed. I'm not sure if it would have changed my opinion had I known, but I definitely felt almost like I caught someone living a double life who was in another relationship or whatnot. At the end of the day, this is a hard one. I feel it's best to inform, if only because transphobia is real. On the other hand, in certain areas and regions, there is some real safety concerns there. I wish I had a better answer. Story 2. As a trans person, yes. For safety. In many states, the trans panic defense is still on books and allowed. My dating profiles list me as trans/non-binary outright, because last thing I want to deal with is finding out halfway into a date that whoever I'm with is deeply transphobic, and now I need to be seriously worried for my own safety. I'd love to live in a world where it doesn't matter, and that it wouldn't change a person's opinion of me. But let's be realistic. It does affect how many people see me. Now to specify, do I tell everyone I meet I'm trans? No. Average busgoer sitting beside me doesn't matter. But if they're going to be an important part of my life, they should know, if only so I don't waste my time on transphobes. Story 3. As a trans person, it's not like someone you're dating isn't going to find out eventually. The real question here, if we want to have a meaningful discussion, is when to bring it up. Personally, if I'm on a hookup app, one, put it on my profile. But if I'm on a dating app with casual intentions, meet up for an ice cream and may never see each other again, I don't have it on my profile and I don't mention it on the first meetup. If the person expresses any desire to meet up again or pursue things further as a romantic interest, I'll bring it up. I don't put it on my Tinder profile for a handful of reasons. Don't want local coworkers finding out. Don't want to attract fetishists. Don't want to attract violence. But most salient to this discussion is that I don't believe it is relevant for a first casual date. You might meet up in 5 minutes and realize you're entirely incompatible for 1,000 other reasons. I'm allowed to save a complicated medical condition on the back burner until after I've met you the first time. Especially because half the folks I meet on Tinder just become casual friends, and I don't go around telling my friends about my genitals. The idea that you'll date the love of your life for 3 years and then climb into bed and find out they're trans. Y'all, that's so not a statistically relevant concern. Trust me, we trans folk know it's not safe to wait too long, and the last thing we want is for someone to reach in our pants and then panic, because that becomes a legally justifiable defense for straight-up murder. We don't have a death wish, we'll let you know. And we totally understand if that's not your preference. Hell, I'm trans and bi, and I also have certain combinatorial preferences. But also, if the idea of going on a no-expectations first date with a trans person fills you with anger for being deceived, that's worth some internal examination, friend. No stranger owes you that level of info straight out the gate. What's something you wish you could ask trans people without any judgment? I feel asking my question. I'm going to have people come for me. But I believe education is important, and I want to understand things I don't know. So when a man transitions into a woman, I understand that they take hormone replacement therapy. That must be brutal, by the way. Yet I still see a lot of trans women with beards. I might be ignorant in asking this, but if you have gone to so much time, effort, and money to transition to become a woman, why would you not shave, since facial hair is predominantly a very masculine feature?
Facial hair removal can be a nightmare. HRT doesn't remove/reduce facial hair much, if at all. Laser is expensive and can be ineffective, also isn't considered fully permanent. That leaves electrolysis, which they stick a needle into the base of the hair, electrocute it, then pluck the hair. It takes on average 6 tries to properly kill a follicle, which means 100 hours or more of really painful hair removal. That being said, the actual numbers of trans women with visible beards are really low. It's just that you notice the ones with visible beards a whole lot more.
If gender roles didn't exist and men and women were actually treated equally, men can wear dresses, women can be buff, etc., nobody cares, would all trans people still be trans? What about non-binary? How much of it is wanting it be physically different, and how much of it is not identifying with the gender role?
I would still very much have physical dysphoria related to secondary sex characteristics like chest, voice, facial hair, height, body fat distribution, etc., and primary sex characteristics like genitals. Before transitioning to male, I lifted weights a lot and ate more thinking I would look like a muscular man. I stopped lifting for a while when I realized I looked like a muscular woman. I felt confused and angry by this. Now with T, I can build muscle like a man, and I am so happy with how I am able to build my physique. I never received hate for looking like a muscular woman, but I didn't want to look like a muscular woman, I wanted to look like a muscular man. So based on that and feeling genuine discomfort with all my female physical characteristics, I would definitely be trans still, as it goes a lot beyond just liking lifting weights or dressing in guys' clothes.
I work in medicine. Oftentimes it can be apparent that someone may be transitioning, but it's never right to assume anything about anyone. I'll usually see their given name before I meet them, and it's standard practice to have a point confirm with their legal name and DOB. What do you think is the best way of being asked if you have a preferred first name other than what is legal in that situation? I usually stumble with something like, "Hi, I'm looking for John Doe, is that you? Nice to meet you. Is John okay? Or do you go by another name?" But it always feels clunky. Looking for advice.
Whenever I work with someone, I address them by the name on file, then ask if they have a preferred name. Every single one. Sometimes you get Jim from James. Sometimes you get Amelia from Clark.
Don't think I have a gender, in the sense I have an internal sense of what body I'm supposed to be in. I feel like the only reason I call myself a guy at all is because I have a male body, and if I had a female body, I would call myself female. And I kinda think this is how most people are TBH. I don't really accept gender stereotypes at all, and to be honest, probably define more of them than I fit for a guy. But I feel like that doesn't say anything at all about what gender I am. There's plenty of less masculine guys or less feminine girls out there. I guess I have two questions. What is it supposed to mean to feel like a girl or feel like a guy? Is it a positive affinity for the other sex, or is it more just a dislike and feeling of discomfort with your own body? And isn't that difficult to separate that from other self-image issues like body dysmorphia or self-hate for depression or trauma reasons? What do you think of people saying gender is a social construct rather than a real internal sense of self about the body you're in?
For me, it was a combination of a feeling of discomfort with my birth sex and a strong feeling I should have been born as a male. It's a feeling impossible to describe to someone who has never felt it, kind of like trying to explain what the color blue is to someone who cannot see color. When I lived as a female, I felt trapped in my body, but living as male, post-hormones and surgery, I feel free. Body dysmorphia feels different. For example, seeing yourself as fatter than you actually are. Gender dysphoria doesn't lie to you. I looked in the mirror and saw a woman because I was one, and that was the problem. As far as self-hate goes, I did hate my female body, and I tried for a very long time to learn to love it, but it was affecting my quality of life so negatively that I decided transitioning was my best bet. I was right 6 years later, and I am thriving more than I ever thought possible. I believe gender is partly socially constructed, partly internal sense of self. Socially constructed parts include the clothes you are told you can wear, the jobs you are told you can do, the hobbies you are pushed towards, etc. Internal sense is more of an acceptance/rejection of your biological sex and or these gender roles. This can manifest in many different ways, and ultimately determines your desire to transition, if any.